I honestly cannot even make up what's happening in the NBA offseason right now. It has been absolutely insane. All of these rumors coming in are absolutely insane. Players that I thought were completely untouchable are now in trade talks. Players that I thought didn't really have much of a chance to move are in trade talks. All the teams are involved. It's just absolutely insane. So I'm going to break down all of the recent rumors that we've heard today and just discuss them with you guys in this video today. Now, if you guys want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments down below, and also leave a like on this video. Let's try to get 1,000 likes on it. I know you guys can, but let's get right into these NBA rumors. First, I'm going to talk about the New York Knicks, Phil Jackson, and Kristaps Porzingis, man, a name that I did not expect to be moving around this time. But Woj dropped another bomb, another Woj bomb. He said, sources, as teams become aware, Phil Jackson isn't ruling out possibility of trading Kristaps Porzingis. Frenzy of interest is growing today. I did not even think that the Knicks were going to try and possibly even look to trade Kristaps Porzingis, man. He's like the only bright spot on that team. He is their #1 asset. He was looked to be the future of that team, and now they're possibly considering trading him, man, which is just insane to me. Obviously, whenever a big name player is involved, you guys know the first team that jumps up to the top of the rumor mill, obviously the Celtics, are looking to make a package to possibly acquire Kristaps Porzingis. Well, I don't think that will happen. It is definitely a crazy thing to hear about. I also heard that the Knicks actually offered a deal to the Suns. The Knicks offered Kristaps Porzingis in return for Devin Booker and the 4th pick in the draft. The Suns said hell no. I don't know why the Suns would do that, man. Devin Booker possibly has a higher ceiling than Kristaps Porzingis, in my opinion, and the 4th pick in the draft. I am really glad the Suns didn't even consider doing that trade. But the Kristaps Porzingis stuff goes on, man. Sources from Woj, he says Phil Jackson met with Lauri Markkanen. He's one of the NBA draft prospects that's most likely going to be a top 10, if not lottery pick in the draft this year in New York on Monday. A player whom he's considering at number 8 overall should the Knicks move Porzingis. So obviously, man, with him meeting with this guy, a guy who has a similar game to Kristaps Porzingis, it points to the Knicks possibly trying to move Kristaps Porzingis, which I thought was completely off the table. I didn't think they'd consider that. So yeah, that's pretty insane to me. Next, we're going to be talking about the one and only Paul George. Obviously, his agent told the Pacers that, or his manager told the Pacers, one of the two, that he is not going to re-sign with them in 2018 and that he's going to leave the team in the offseason. So the Pacers are definitely looking to move him, preferably before the NBA draft, just so they can make some nice draft picks with the assets that they would receive for him. So there's a bunch of teams interested, obviously, with Paul George being a top tier player in the NBA. And originally we were looking at the Celtics and the Cavs both being viable options to try to acquire Paul George. Now there's other teams in the mix, man. Mark Stein reports that Clippers, Rockets, Wizards, and obviously, yes, the Cavs are among the teams that have also talked Paul George trades with Indiana. Now the Clippers are an interesting team because although they don't have that many assets to offer, they do have 3 players that the Pacers could acquire in a sign and trade. While I don't think Chris Paul would want to do that, JJ Redick or Blake Griffin, both viable options to go to that team. And I think the Clippers getting Paul George and getting rid of Blake Griffin, I think that improves them as a team, man. I really think it does. Also, with the Rockets, it'd be very interesting to see Paul George play with James Harden. I think that would be a really, really good duo, and that might take them over the top and to possibly contend with the Warriors, while the Warriors still probably be the favorites. It would definitely make the Western Conference a lot more interesting. And then the Wizards, man, that would be a dope possibility as well. It would probably involve a trade or a sign and trade with Otto Porter, but still, man, a core of John Wall, Bradley Beal, and Paul George would be absolutely insane. And you guys know the Cavs, you guys know what they're about. They would most likely have to give up Kevin Love to acquire Paul George, but still, I do think that would make the Cavs the better team and have a better chance to beat the Warriors in the finals. Now, after that, Mark Stein also reported that league sources tell Ramona Shelburne, she's one of the ESPN girls, and himself, that the Pacers and the Lakers have engaged on Paul George trade talks in advance of Thursday's draft. Now, I think the Lakers are pretty confident that they will sign him in free agency, in the upcoming free agency a year from now. But what they don't want to happen is they don't want him to get traded to a team as like a one-year rental, and then he falls in love with the system, falls in love with the teammates, and wants to stay there long term. So I believe the Lakers are kind of upset that other teams are trying to trade for him, and they might have to jump up and trade for him instead if they think another team could possibly take Paul George from them, which obviously makes a lot of sense, man. If Paul George goes to the Cavs, he loves playing with LeBron. They possibly win a championship. I don't think Paul George would want to leave that situation, man. I really, really don't. I do want to say, though, I have a lot of respect for Paul George for doing what he's doing, man. He's played his heart out in Indiana, and he was just completely honest with them, man. He did the right thing. Imagine if Kevin Durant did what Paul George did when he was on the Thunder. If Kevin Durant was like, yo, if we don't win a chip this year, I'm probably going to leave. The Thunder could have traded him, could have picked up some assets which would have made them better off in the future. Paul George is doing a really good thing for Indiana, and I honestly respect that, man. A lot of athletes just like, oh, I'm not going to say anything, and I'm probably going to leave in the offseason. Paul George, in my opinion, is doing the right thing by telling him, yes, I am going to leave in the offseason, so if you want to trade me, get those assets, do what you got to do. I like that a lot. Shout out to Paul George. Now, apparently for the Lakers, the number 2 pick and Brandon Ingram are both untouchable. They do not want to send either of those guys to the Indiana Pacers for a Paul George deal. But apparently guys like D'Angelo Russell, Jordan Clarkson, and Julius Randle are actually on the block, man. And if the price is right, they might end up sending one of those guys to the Pacers. I'm honestly really surprised that D'Angelo Russell is on the block. Like, the Lakers are apparently looking to trade him for another lottery pick, which is kind of insane because like 2 years ago he was the 2nd pick in the NBA draft, and he showed a lot of promise in his rookie and sophomore season. I never thought the Lakers would be trying to trade him, but shoot, man, he has a lot of potential, and if something comes up where he could possibly be a Bull, I wouldn't be too against that. Now we have to follow up on yesterday's story, Jimmy Butler possibly being traded to the Cavs. Now this is just into the Chicago Sun-Times, one of the main newspapers in Chicago, and sources out of Cleveland say that Jimmy Butler will push for a trade to the Cavaliers, which is honestly surprising, man, because for the longest, Jimmy has just said, I love it here in Chicago, I want to play for the team, but whatever happens will happen. But according to this article, man, now it looks like Jimmy wouldn't be against or would actually want to be traded to the Cavs, which actually makes a lot of sense because in an interview a few months ago, he did say if there's any player he would like to play with, it would be Kyrie Irving, and he would also like a shooter like Kyle Korver, both of which are on the Cavs. And I don't know, it kind of just makes a lot of sense for the Cavs to try to trade for Jimmy Butler, to try to put them over the top to beat the Warriors in next year's NBA Finals. Now, it won't be easy. You guys know the Cavs have to find a third team to offer the proper assets that the Bulls would be asking for to trade Jimmy Butler, and then that team would probably get Kevin Love. But I don't know, man, it definitely seems interesting, and part of me kind of wants to see it happen, man. Although I do love Jimmy Butler, he is my favorite player, and it will be weird watching him play with LeBron James. I just feel like it would make the NBA even more interesting, especially when the finals come around next year. And yeah, it would just be really fun to watch, and I would love to see Jimmy Butler possibly get a ring. So that would be interesting for sure. But yeah, boys, in this video I have went over a ton of different things, man. I went over the Kristaps Porzingis trade opportunities. I also went over Paul George trade opportunities, and I talked about Jimmy Butler going to the Cavs for a little bit. None of which is final, none of which is definite, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens, man. We are just 2 days away from the NBA draft, and I feel like a lot of these moves will need to be made before the NBA draft, so the next 2 days will probably be insane. Quick little update, right as I was about to finish editing this video, I quickly went over to Twitter to see if anything happened, anything changed between me recording the video and me editing the video, and I actually saw some big bit of news, man. This comes from Jordan Schultz. He's an NBA analyst. He's done it for a while, and he says the Cavs are not currently in discussions with Pacers for Paul George, per sources, and he's told that Paul George is moving very soon. So in my opinion, this makes it look like that that Paul George is going to be traded to either the Lakers or the Celtics, just because I felt like those were the two biggest teams to offer them something. I feel like they have the most assets to offer. So yeah, we'll probably find out in the next day or two where Paul George is going. If I had to be a betting man, I would say the Lakers, just because they're most likely going to re-sign him in the offseason, so it makes the most sense for them to trade for him, just so he doesn't get held up on another team and then want to stay there. That's just my opinion though. You guys could let me know what you think in the comments down below. Back to the normal outro though. But I really appreciate you guys watching this video. If you did enjoy, it would mean a lot to me if you left a like on the video, man. That lets me know that you appreciate me putting the time to make this and that you enjoyed it. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'm going to try to make NBA videos for you guys every day. If not, I will have other gaming content for you guys if you're new to the channel. Thank you all for watching though. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, smash that like button. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.